his character needs to be back on TV. But because I think that, he just came off of this program with John Cena, right? Put him on center stage against a big marquee name. He got his 6-0, 5-0 gimmick thing working for him, and then he loses a pay-per-view and then the day after on Monday Night Raw. And even though there was some resistance behind both men, I mean, it was a match, it was pretty good, it was pretty solid, but he loses 2 in a row after all that smack. So what's the natural thing to do next week? Give him a day off and give Evan Bourne and Kofi some time, give some of the other guys some time on TV, and then maybe next week, hopefully, we see him back on.
That's true. We'll have to wait and see what they do next week. Raw is live again next week from Orlando, Florida. I wasn't going to bring this up, Jose, but a couple minutes ago you said something about next week, right? And your voice cracked when you said it. And somebody in the chat room, WWE Raw fan, brought it up. Says, "Whoa, Jose, did your voice crack?" I wasn't going to bring it up because I didn't think it was going to make air. You know what I mean? I guess everything we say makes air, but I didn't think it was going to come through that clearly. So yeah, Jose's voice cracked. Live.
It's sometimes when I get in my groove thing and I just can't stop talking. It's like, all right, I need some water now, please.
Yeah, it was something like next week or something like that. I don't know. It was something weird, dude. Something weird. But they caught it in the chat room, so I had to bring it up. I had to call you out. You know what I mean? So,
it's all good.
It's all good. All right, so back to Primo and Carlito against Edge and Chris Jericho. Good match. You know what I mean? Primo and especially Primo in recent weeks has really caught my eye, you know what I mean? And I'm a fan of his, so it'll be interesting to see where they go after the match. We had Carlito turned on Primo and basically drilled him into the ring post and walked out on him. The thing I don't like about this is, you split them up. You're going to have that big match, right? Maybe next week. Who knows? Who knows when they'll do it? But you're going to have Primo versus Carlito. You've now broken up one of your better tag teams in WWE, and what happens to these two after this storyline runs its course? You know what I mean? Carlito and Primo are just going to fall back into basically nobodies on Monday Night Raw after this feud. Sure, this feud's going to run its course. Primo versus Carlito, they'll build that up. Hopefully, they build it up. I mean, knowing WWE.
Honestly, I don't think they're going to build that. Either of those two will fall back, and the reason why I'll tell you is the Hispanic viewership. Guys, everyone knows, including God, that WWE strives so hard to bring the Hispanic viewers into Monday Night Raw, and we don't see Vicky anymore. We don't see Chavo really on Raw anymore. The only Hispanics that you see right now are Carlito, the Colones. So I think it'd be something that we'll see continuous, but out of those
where are you going to put them? I mean, they're gonna both have to be singles wrestlers after this, right? You're going to have two singles wrestlers, two mid-card singles wrestlers that, in my opinion, would be better fit as a tag team. I mean, that's one of your top.
Oh no, I completely agree. I think it was idiotic that they broke them up so early, especially now that you got 5 new guys coming onto your show that you need to fit in. Matt Hardy's down, so but then again he got traded to SmackDown, so you got to now take away on some of those, like the Evan Bournes now. He may get stiffed on TV time a little bit because of the split up, but that's the reason why I still feel that either or of those two men will continue some sort of spotlight. I like Carlito as a heel. I think he plays a heel role a lot better than a face. And is giving his brother the opportunity to shine, to go against maybe an Evan Bourne or a Kofi and kind of mix him into that and see how the audience, accepts him. And if the audience doesn't accept him like The Miz, then eventually it will just kind of fall back into the DL list, I guess, or, and when needed, they'll use him.
Well, I remember Carlito as a mid-card wrestler, and basically fell into the jobber status. You know what I mean?
Well, there was some backstage heat, for things that I've heard, but and so he kind of, not saying that he deserved it, but he kind of came to him.
I think over the next few weeks after Carlito and Primo, we'll be able to talk about this a little bit more in the coming weeks after that main match, after that one match, Carlito versus Primo, I think especially over on Monday Night Raw, I think they hit a roadblock. You know what I mean?
They need to make sure if they really want to push either or. Carlito's already up there. They need to push his brother, and they need to put he needs to put his brother over if they want him to be over. That's kind of what that's kind of historic WWE booking anyway. John Cena and The Miz comes to mind. Miz getting over for a couple of weeks, and then of course Cena closes it, and I think that's probably what's going to end up with those two.
Or do what they did with the Bella Twins, where they broke them up. They did the one match, and then they never explained why they were back together again. You know what I mean? Horrible. They did that. Yeah, I know, absolutely. I don't know. We'll be able to talk more in depth about what is up with Carlito and Primo here in the coming weeks. Hey, you know what? I think we should mix it up a little bit because we have a couple live phone callers right now. One from Maryland, and another. What's this, Massachusetts? So, we could take these phone calls, and hour one we'll mix it up. We'll take phone calls in hour number 1 and hour number 2 as well. Now, you know what I mean? We'll mix it up.
Works for me.
Works for you. All right. Let's go to Eastern Maryland. I believe this is. You're live on WZR Radio. What's on your mind? Maryland.
I think Maryland's right now in a car chase.
He's, right? Maybe in a car chase. Who knows? I tried. Maryland, last shot, buddy. Last shot. We tried.
I'm an Oriole fan.
Oh, well. We'll go to Massachusetts. Massachusetts, you're live on WZR Radio here on WZROnline.com. What's on your mind?
Hello?
Hello, what's up?
Hi. I'm calling about what you guys think about the new ECW, especially when you have, they just bring in, new guys like Yoshitatsu, Sheamus, and last week's spoilers, it appeared that they brought back Ezekiel Jackson. Do you think that these guys are going to be officially permanent, or you guys think that they're just, temporarily using them to see what's up? Because I know, especially with the limited time slot on ECW, it's just my concern.
Well, we know that ECW was completely drained from the draft. They got screwed, and they always get screwed. You know what I mean? But this was the way for them to bring guys up from FCW, and it all depends. If the gimmicks take off and the fans take to these new guys, you're going to see them around. You know what I mean? And if they don't, there are other guys in FCW. You may see more new talents being called up here in the next few weeks. But overall, if you want to make new stars, you've got to bring them up at some point. Was it a little bit overdone last week? It seemed like every single segment had somebody new, and to unleash all of those people at one time on your ECW audience, it's going to take a little bit of time, you know what I mean, to get used to those guys. And we'll see what works. They'll see what works. And
definitely, because, I noticed it's, cause especially the announcers and the crowd was, confused, hey, another new superstar, what's going on? I know a lot of people don't really look at them up. Most people is hey, this guy, let's go check him up on Wikipedia, and they get a little bit of information, or they, go on YouTube and look up these guys and watch their match, and they see nothing special. And, especially when ECW is, like you said, they always get screwed out of the draft, and, they always they lose their key guys, like Swagger, Bourne, the Hart Dynasty, and they get, veteran wrestlers like Shelton Benjamin, who, I feel like he's really up and down.
Here's the thing. Evan Bourne went from ECW to Raw. A guy that built his name where? On ECW. Jack Swagger, another guy, built his name on ECW. The Hart Foundation built their names on ECW. So these guys, we all know them now from ECW, right? Now you bring in a new batch, and then when the time comes, the guys that work, you send them over to SmackDown. You send them over to Raw. But if there was one place that you want to bring all that new talent at one time, I don't really agree that they brought that many up last week, you know what I mean? But ECW was drained, and now you build them up. You build them up just like you did Evan Bourne, just like you did the Howard Foundation, just like you did Jack Swagger over on ECW, and then you send them out.
And don't forget Ricky Ortiz to SmackDown.
Yeah, let's go for him. Yeah, and then, like, another question comes to mind because, like, I like the new ECW, but, like, I always seen blogs and everything, like how, like, ECW's dead and how, like, this is, like, they're just using it as a product. But, I sometimes see it as, like, ECW is still doing their part. That I think, and Tommy Dreamer has said in the blog that even though ECW has changed, ECW is still doing its part because back then when ECW was the way it was, no one knew about Rob Van Dam, Sandman, or all those people, and then you bring them up to the mainstream, they become very successful. And ECW is still doing the same thing with CM Punk, John Morrison. He said that he feel that in his case, ECW is still doing what it did before, and that's bring up unknown names that people know that people from the mainstream did not know, and now they're becoming successful. And I just want to get your thought on that.
You are exactly right. I'm going to let Jose answer this one, but you are right on the money with ECW. Guys never